All right. Hey, everybody. I'm here. It's the first night of the Republican National Convention, and we're all going to watch together. I don't know if we're going to have a cringe stream. I don't know if I just don't know what we're going to have. What I heard is that Donald Trump has already spoken like 2 or 3 times today. It just seems that he's a little bit overexposed and completely desperate for attention, as always. But it is starting at the bottom of the hour. There's a couple different there's a bunch of different clips that I saw from people earlier. Like, for example, this is one guy. I mean, it's off the rails instantly.
We love both mother and child, but where Joe Biden is hiding in the dark, waiting to take the lives of our unborn babies.
So that sort of gives you a sense of what's going on. Let me look at some of the other videos that Aaron posted, who's covering all of this stuff very powerfully. Okay, look, check this out.
Very careful. This is going to be, and I really believe this is the most important election in the history of our country.
Yes, it is.
Don't let them take it away from
I agree with that.
you. Don't let them take it away. North Carolina, we love you. That's why I'm here. Thank you very much. Very special people. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, so just everything about it is weird.
And along those beautiful war fields that we have, they're coming from everywhere, sir. I've never seen anything like it. But if other states are like Tennessee, you're going to win this election.
Also, the buzzing throughout the entire thing is really weird.
Nobody's done more for the African American community. No president has done as much as anybody since Abraham Lincoln. It's true.
Weird. Then he says there's going to be 300 Supreme Court justices. Of course, there's only 9.
Republicans did not make it easy, let's say, but if you have enough time, there's not much anybody can do about it. We ended up with 142 judges, and then we've added many, and we're going to end up with 302 great Supreme Court justices.
That'll be quite a Supreme Court, and then the delusions continue.
We've accomplished more during the first 3.5 years of this administration than any president in the history of our country. And
what's funny about that, and I'm going to have a whole segment about it tomorrow, is that if they've done more than any president, why is their platform remaining unchanged for the next 4 years? Like, in other words, if you put together a platform in 2016 and you accomplish more than anybody, and then in 2020 you go, we're not changing the platform is the same. Did you really accomplish anything? It doesn't strike me that you did. So we're going to have a lot of wild times here. Super chats are coming in wildly. People sending Twitch messages, like, for example, Remy's alter ego subscribed for 2 months and says, congrats on your PogChamps victory. I did finally win a match earlier today. Omega JRS and Young Freud, Mitsuo, Philip Uranus. I do them separately in order to protect myself, has grabbed a subscription. Reglich, a lot of different people. Let's see. We'll look at a few messages. Chakoseki says, David, could you give a shout out to my boy Big Smoke up Spencer the Valley? Sure. He also says plasma for all. Plasma all around. Cameron Titus says craziest scheduled speaker for the RNC 2020. Well, let's just look at today. I don't know about the entire thing. Today we're going to hear from Tim Scott. Let's go one by one. Tim Scott, Steve Scalise. Okay, Scalise is crazier than Scott. Matt Gaetz. Gaetz is crazier than Scalise. Jim Jordan. That's tough. I mean, I think Jordan and Gaetz are equally bonkers. Nikki Haley is less crazy than them. Ronna McDaniel is less crazy than them. Vernon Jones is less crazy. Amy Johnson, Guilfoyle, Harp, Charlie Kirk. I think Charlie Kirk is just not that bright. I don't think he's crazy. Kim Klashik, Mark and Patricia McCloskeys are the St. Louis couple with the guns. Sean Parnell, Don Jr., Herschel Walker. I think that Gaetz and Jim Jordan, we'll take it day by day. I think Gaetz and Jordan today are the craziest people. Okay. Unknown Prodigy says, I can't tell you how disappointed I am In PogChamps Game 2, you had 20,000 different ways to win and choked and then choked again. Come on, David. I won the match. That's what matters. 3 points up on the board. Gregory Shavers Jr. says, I'm glad you're here with us to watch The Cringe. Donna Williams, a big thank you for covering this. I couldn't watch it otherwise. Solar says it's going to be a political circus. Chris says, love the content. Cameron Titus says, we just did that. Brian Holiday says, upper or downer Trump. I don't know that we're going to see Trump tonight. I think, Trump was earlier and he's going to be speaking a little bit each day, but his big speech is Thursday. Philip says, David, over 1,500 people were here hanging out for the last 45 minutes, cracking jokes and more. We're disappointed you're late, but glad you're here. Okay, so I'm not late and there weren't 1,500 people here for 45 minutes. But 15 minutes ago, there were certainly 1,500 people. Let's be accurate, Philip, please, and thank you for your support. Bay Photo says, sensing Trump will try to announce a vaccine at the RNC. 1147 Cloud says, missed your PogChamp game. Will you be posting them on YouTube? I didn't even record. I wasn't even streaming for today's, so probably not. Freedom Cleaner asks, do I think I could beat Trump in chess? That no one knows more strategy than him. I have no idea if he's any good. Sabers Man asks if I'm ready for this horror show. I'm very much ready. Absolutely. Okay. We have a hype train out of the station on Twitch. Purdy1999 has subscribed. Sonia Lang has sent a cheer. And there's a lot of extremely, extremely exciting things going on. Dewey Sun has subscribed on YouTube. We will be keeping an eye on Trump's Twitter to see what he posts. An hour ago, he posted about Joe Biden. Joe Biden says he would lock down the country again. That's crazy. We're having record job growth and a booming stock market, but Joe would end it all and close it all down. Ridiculous. Yeah, so he really has no idea sort of like how to deal with a pandemic, which is not news to us. I think we certainly knew that. Let me say thank you to Ellen Sands, Cody Greer, and Michael Brennan, who are new members 1, 2, and 3 today. Hey, this is just really, really funny. I think some of you will appreciate this. So for 2 weeks, I've been promoting that on August 23rd, which is yesterday, it's the 15th anniversary of the David Pakman Show in some form, in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to have this big membership special on August 23rd. Get on our mailing list. I'll let you know about it. Yesterday shows up. We send out this beautiful membership special. People are loving it. People are signing up. And then just for kicks, I was like, something's feeling weird about August 23rd. Was that really the date? I check a calendar and August 23rd, 2005 was a Tuesday. Our show used to be Wednesdays only. It wasn't even the date. So it was actually August 17th. We got the date wrong of our own 15th anniversary, but it doesn't matter. We're still running the membership special and the coupon code is 15-year, 15-year. So you can go to joinpakman.com. The coupon code above my head is good. The coupon code 15-year is great. 15-year. Okay. And I will, we have a goal of 25 members, as you can see, and I will be thanking everybody, or at least doing my best to do so, which is very exciting, but it's a coupon code. They wouldn't allow a coupon code like this in a lot of states where you can marry your cousin. You can do that. This coupon code would be not allowed. You understand? Okay, good. Let's see. Other messages coming in during the propaganda video. Oh, people are asking where things are from the standpoint of subscribers on YouTube. We're at 963,000. We're only 20 from a 964,000. So I would love to hit 965 tonight. That's my goal, but things are going well. And when I say they're going well, they're really going well. It's not like when Trump says we're doing great on the virus. Things are actually going well. In the fight for 1 million, Mitsuo has gifted 10 subscriptions. Dub Fotech has subscribed. Miniman, I wonder if that's Michael Bloomberg. Miniman has subscribed. Circeus Chorus has also subscribed. Let's see this insane video that's playing here now.
Of loss. We
all know that it is easy to criticize. We all know that it is easy to criticize. It takes a true leader to solve problems. COVID-19, while others criticize.
Imagine running on doing a good job on COVID if you're Trump.
Swift action saved lives. And as leading Democrats want to keep businesses closed down, our president is leading the way for a full economic recovery.
I'm like already almost done. Like, I don't know that I'm going to make it through the next 10 minutes. Never mind 4 nights of this. It's crazy. Philip says, I watched the 730-minute pre-show grow to 2,000 when you started. Now you're at 5.5 thousand. Yeah, fuzzy numbers, but love is still there. Beautiful. Tristan Nichelle says, do you have the RNC bingo card ready? I was so busy today, I was not able to get it ready, but I'm going to try to get it ready for tomorrow. Johnny Minogue says, good thing you got your smoke detectors fixed in advance of this fish market dumpster fire. On today's bonus show, I explained why firefighters were at my house at 4:30 in the morning over the weekend. That's on today's bonus show. Okay. It is a hell of a story. Hell of a story. You can't even imagine. Nicholas Smith says, why do Americans tend to vote out of fear instead of voting for the best candidate despite the party, i.e. third party? For me, voting third party is the only moral choice. Well, because we have first past the post voting in the U.S., and so voting third party can end up playing spoiler. Let's see what's going on now. The video's not even like, the frame rate is all messed up. It's weird.
Let us pray.
Oh, my God.
And pray we must, as grateful citizens of a country.
I'm going to focus. I just can't do the total propaganda, so we're not going to do the prayer. Once we get to the speeches, I will get to it. Foos Coach asks, do Twitch subs get the bonus show? No, unfortunately not. You got to be a member on my website or on Patreon, or Patreon as I call it. Okay, we have achieved a level 5 hype train. Beautiful. Beautiful. Unknown Prodigy asks, does it upset you that the RNC gets more views than the DNC because of the entertainment value? Not really. Not really, but I did expect that the RNC streams would do better than the DNC streams. And I think we topped out on YouTube at 8,500 at the peak of the DNC. And we're already at 7,400 on YouTube, and like no one's even spoken yet. So it is, I understand the train wreck aspect of it. No bingo today. Bernie Sanders, is it true the COVID-19 death count? No. That user just doesn't know how to send an interesting super chat. Michael Hunt says, will you be donating plasma if you get COVID? I may. Simp King says, what would happen if Trump nominated Melania as VP? Probably nothing. Trump could shoot people on Fifth Avenue and people wouldn't even be bothered. Jenna Ayers says, please pause, don't mute. We miss all his lies. Barry Crocker says, run Trump transcript through a Russian translator. Philip Nauman says, DP is the Mystery Science Theater 2000 of politics. That's interesting. Alex Kepke says, do you think the RNC will get you to vote red? Listen, I'm going to put out a statement right now. If anybody watching is convinced to vote Trump based on the RNC, I want to hear from you. Here's Charlie Blork.
It is an honor to be with you tonight. My name is Charlie Kirk. I run the largest pro-American student organization in the country, Turning Point USA, fighting for the future of our republic. Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America.
Why isn't the video? I hope people understand the production value of this is a disaster. It's not on my end. It's all jittery.
In both.
By the way, how is Charlie Kirk's head so big but face so small? It's unusual.
Faceless corporations and to self-serving lobbyists. They did it to preserve their own power and enrich themselves, all while rigging the system to hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life. All of this changed dramatically in 2015 when a billionaire named Donald Trump put his own life of luxury on the line. From that moment he came down that famous escalator, he started a movement to reclaim our government from the rotten cartel of insiders that have been destroying our country.
Now, just so people know, like, there's no way to fact check that. I don't know that he said anything that's true other than maybe his name. And in fact, that I would want to see a license for. We're just watching it together. You can't possibly fact check 100 or 1,000 lies.
Our way of life, our neighborhoods, schools, churches, and values. President Trump was elected to defend the American way of life. The American way of life means you follow the law, you work hard, you honor God, you raise your kids with strong values, and you work to create a civil society. The American way of life means you speak your mind without retribution, without being kicked off social media by a self-righteous censor in Silicon Valley. It means you can freely practice your religion, and that church is more essential than a casino.
Right.
And it means that we judge people on their actions, not on their immutable characteristics. The American way of life is being dismantled by a group of bitter, deceitful, vengeful activists who have never built anything in their lives. They have us locking up pastors while releasing violent criminals from prison. We are kicking doctors off of social media, yet promoting Chinese state-funded propaganda on major tech platforms.
Oh my God.
This election is the most critical since 1860, when a man named Lincoln was elected to preserve the Union from disintegration.
This is crazy.
This election is not just the most important of our lifetime, it is the most important since the preservation of the Republic in 1865. By re-electing Trump, we will ensure that our kids are raised to love our country and respect its founding fathers, not taught to hate or be ashamed of them. We will build monuments to heroes, not burn down our cities. We will be a country that rises to higher heights, that dreams big, thinks big, and achieves the impossible. A country that values our remarkable journey, the complexities of our past, but clearly communicates to the next generation that we have to be grateful, not angry, that we live in the United States. We will be a country that makes it easier to have many children, live quiet and peaceable lives, and worship your God without a tyrant getting in the way. We will be a country that has its best 100 years ahead. We will build a future where America remains the greatest country ever to exist in the history of the world. All of that is within our grasp if we secure 4 more years of civilization for the defender of Western civilization, our champion, my friend, the 45th President of the United States, President
I'm
Donald.
just going to switch stream real quick. This is the official stream. That was the Trump stream. This is the RNC stream. That was literally crazy. I mean, you would have to suspend all belief of anything in order to believe that. We're going to skip this one. I'm going to really hit the highlights and get the big names. The super chats are just flying in. James Montalbano says the bigger the lie, the more they believe. Yeah, that's very much true. Kyle Hopper says, thank you for being here. David Yoseminite Plasman. David Plasman, I like that. James DeWine says, Trump pardoned war criminals. What the fuck is this nonsense? Oh my God. That's super aggressive. Mazi Z says, achieve the impossible. Okay, looking at you, COVID-19. How can we afford to have many children when our costs are so high? I'll do the best I can to keep up with super chats. They're just going in fast and furious. I do feel like I've lost 2 IQ points so far, and we're only 11 minutes in. Scott Hack says, how much do I have to drink to tolerate this? That's a great question. Playable Tengu says, Charlie Kirk is similar to Pinocchio. Every time he tells a lie, his head grows and his face shrinks. Yeah, it was very strange facial structure. If he has Marfan syndrome or something, I'm not making fun of him in any way. And I want to make sure we're not, it's just, he has a distinctive look is all I mean. I want to be real careful. Steve Parney says, David, a survey says 70% of Republicans are happy with the economy. How many people actually identify as Republican? That's a fair question. This is going to be good, I know. It says, David, thanks for stomaching all of this crap for us. I'll only be able to bear it in parts here and there. That I understand. That I understand. And what's insane is, again, dramatically more interest in these streams than for the DNC. We're about to breach 9,500 on YouTube, and we never got that at any point during the DNC. I don't think it's because my audience plans to vote for this nonsense. I think it's because you're looking at it the way you look at a car accident on the highway, you know? That's everyone loves a mess. Exactly. I think that's exactly right. Okay. Trevor Showman says, I think Trump really feels he creates a new thing with plasma, whereas the rest of the world has been using plasma. In his mind, he really did invent. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case. Sabres Man says, sadly, while we see this as crazy, Trumpists see it and think it's genius. Interesting. Not going to fall for this one, just so people, not going to fall for that one. Not happening. Thanks to Optical Monk for subscribing at tier 1. Let's do some new member thank yous because they are rolling in. Davis Patterson is new member number 4. Clark Miyazaki is number 5. Susan Johnson Den is number 6. Ivan Delgado, number 7. Anthony Cifelli is number 8. And Antonia Duthit is number 9 at joinpacman.com. The website is under a lot of pressure. You guys are putting a lot of pressure on the website, but so far it is holding up. Scheduled to speak today, Matt Gaetz, Jim Shorts Jordan, Ronna McDaniel. We already heard from Charlie Kirk. This is an education activist, and I think that the consensus from the DNC was not to cover what we might call the minor streams, the minor speeches, rather. So we are going to be focusing in on the major speeches, and this looks pre-produced, to be perfectly frank, because didn't the speakers switch a little too quickly? Do you guys want to hear from Tanya Weinreis, a small business owner? Yes, no, maybe so. No, sure. Let's check in on it.
Corporation. Our success is not measured by stockholders, but by our neighbors, the people we see at church, and at jiu-jitsu school with our son.
Oh my God.
Mountain Mud Espresso is the American story. A story not just for entrepreneurs, but for millions of hardworking men and women who are building their American dream every day. A few months ago, like so many businesses, we got the crushing news.
I got a better stream, guys.
I was scared. I thought of our 50 employees, the Mountain Mud family. And when I thought of their jobs, I thought of their rent being due, their kids.
So if we don't watch on the official one, we won't see the names of Trump's donors on the bottom of the screen. I think I would trade that for better video.
His words rang clear. Keep on working. It will be okay. I had faith. And let me tell you, you have to have faith when your husband is a Marine and a police officer who was shot at on the job. And when you run a business, a little faith goes a long way. Faith in Jesus and faith in America.
All right, so I'm gonna have to nope right out of there. That's cringy, and soon we'll have other speakers that we're gonna pay very, very close attention to. Things are happening over on Twitch. Rhapsodies Hongroise with a 9-month Prime membership says, I'm assuming Trump will be reelected in order to prepare for the worst. I'll still vote Biden, though. David Igaro says, I have been subscribed since August but forgot my password. Anyway, thank you for being one of the only rational progressives. Thank you. Also, thanks to Loot Hobbit and Lawson129 for the subscription. Very much appreciate that. We have breached 1,000 viewers over on Twitch, which is beautiful. Let's see if we can get to 10K on YouTube, though. We're closing in. Nicholas Silva says, thank you, David. Sir, your assessments on the right and the RNC are some of the best ever, sir. Your work is amazing, sir. Love from Haverhill, Massachusetts. Joseph Ernst says, Kirk's agenda. 1, scare suburban white women. 2, scare old business investors. 3, scare the elderly by talking about communist China cartels and activists. Essentially, yeah, that was the strategy. Rebecca Phillips says, anyone notice the RNC logo now has a crown? I did not see that. And here is Matt Gaetz. Okay, this one we're going to listen to. Buckle up.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, I'm speaking to you from an auditorium emptier than Joe Biden's daily schedule. But we are a nation of full hearts and clear minds. We see the choice clearly: strength or weakness, energy or confusion, success or failure. President Trump is the first president since Reagan not to start a new war. Biden has foolishly cheerled decades of war without winning, without end. President Trump knows we are strongest when we fight hardest, not in distant deserts, but for our fellow Americans. We must fight to save America now, or we may lose her forever. Joe Biden might not even notice. Settle for Biden. That's the hashtag promoted by AOC and the socialists. The Woketopians will settle for Biden because they will make him an extra in a movie written, produced, and directed by others.
This is disgusting.
It's a horror film, really. They'll disarm you, empty the prisons, lock you in your home, and invite MS-13 to live next door. And the police aren't coming when you call.
This is almost like a live Willie Horton ad.
Defunded, disbanded. Blaming our best and allowing society's worst? That's the story they write in Hollywood. That's if the lights even stay on in California anymore. A state that cannot keep power running for its own people should not send its junior senator to be vice president. They used to write only in fiction, but nightmares are becoming real. Cops killed, children shot. At the Democrat convention, they say, if you vote against Trump, it will all stop. Appeasement is never a winning strategy. No, we won't settle for violence in our neighborhoods or at our border. We won't settle for decades of bad decisions by basement-dwelling Joe Biden. We settle a continent. We know that the frontier, the horizon, even the stars belong to us. Donald Trump, like all builders, is a visionary.
The stars belong to us?
Even more powerful than the brick and mortar that holds it together. First comes the mind, then the making. First comes the vision, then the work. Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson are immortal precisely because of the pull they have on our imagination.
This guy actually seems out of his mind. I've never seen him speak at length.
The dangerous left need America to be weaker to accomplish their goal of replacing her. We know that to make America great again, we must first make something of ourselves.
So the 4 years wasn't enough to make it great. Okay.
Great-grandfather was a railroad man. As a Florida man, I watch our rockets routinely send the brightest beyond the heavens with our flag and our hope. America is the greatest country that has ever existed. Don't let any celebrity, athlete, or politician tell you otherwise. President Trump sometimes raises his voice and a ruckus. He knows that's what it takes to raise an army of patriots who love America and will protect her. We must win this election if we cherish our country as much as we should, for there is no place to run, no refuge for freedom should we fail. America is not just an idea or a constitution, it is our home. We must protect our home with unbreakable made in America strength, strength I see every day in President Donald Trump. Thank you.
Absolutely and completely delusional. If that's what we're in for 4 days of, I'll probably get through the next 30 minutes and have to bail, guys. Unfortunately, I mean, it is like it's pond scum. It's pond scum. And the craziest thing is somewhere between 60 and 68 million people are going to see this and go, that's what I'm voting for. That's the really scary thing. Super chats are just exploding. We've never seen anything like it. G Plamp says Fox News isn't even running this. That's interesting if true. Rebecca Phillips says, where is the My Pillow guy in Diamond and Silk? That's a fair question. Life Quinoa Pachito, Lil Quinoa Pachito says, smash the like button, my fellow Woketopians. Yeah, if you're a Woketopian in the audience, please destroy that subscribe button. LA Lakers says 2 main speeches and it's already insane. Yeah, I mean, when we say we have a mental health crisis in this country, I'm not making fun of anyone or joking. I mean, there are literal crazy people speaking at the RNC. These are folks where if you went to a therapist and said, here's what I believe, you would be put into treatment, right? They would say, we should probably go up to twice a week. Yeah, wow. It's unbelievable what we are seeing here. Thanks to Hack Fewy for the Twitch subscription, as well as Breezy for the support, Puntu Babu, Deeper Shades of House, a lot of people checking in and supporting over on Twitch, which I love. Okay. Trevor Shorman says, picture that speech with the Starship Troopers news, music, and commentaries. Yeah, it's weaponized propaganda. It's unbelievable. Jessica Doyle says, no, don't bail. I'm trying to get RNC bingo. Almost got it on ready. I don't think I can survive this without your sane person commentary. Okay. I'm going to try to stick it out for as long as I can. Joseph Ernst says, David, seriously, our media would be like dictator goons spread propaganda for military junta. Pookie New Jack City says, the scary thing is the two choices for president. Who is this? I have no idea who this is. Is this someone we want to listen to?
Off this historic convention. As we speak to
this is Ronna McDaniel. I had no idea what she looked like.
To those facing terrible fires in California, recovering from storms in Iowa, and preparing for hurricanes in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast. Democrats started their convention last week with Eva Longoria, a famous Hollywood actress who played a housewife on TV.
Okay.
Well, I'm actually a real housewife and a mom from...
Isn't she a Romney? Like, isn't she a wealthy, super wealthy Romney or something?
Who happens to be the only the second woman in 164 years to run the Republican Party. And unlike Joe Biden, President Trump didn't choose me because I'm a woman. He chose me because I was the best person for the job.
Okay.
4 years ago, President Trump started a movement unlike any other. And over the next 4 days, we will hear from a few of the millions of hardworking, everyday Americans who have benefited from his leadership. If you watched the DNC last week, you probably noticed that Democrats spent a lot of time talking about how much they despise our president.
Well, yeah.
But we heard very little about their actual policies.
That's not true.
Policies that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. Policies like banning fossil fuels.
Well, yeah, the country has become more liberal, so it makes sense that over time, I mean, Biden's climate policy is to the left of Hillary's, which was to the left of Obama's. Like, that makes sense. The country has moved left.
Down to the fact that they think he's a nice guy. Well, let me tell you, raising taxes on 82% of Americans is not nice.
So Joe Biden has made it clear taxes would not go up on people making under $400,000 a year.
Policies that force jobs to flee our country or allow abortion up until the point of birth are not nice. The truth is, there's only one person who has empathized with everyday Americans and actually been fighting for them over the past 4 years.
All right, so her critique is the DNC was not nice. The policies are not nice. That's the critique here. Okay. Wow. Rebecca Phillips says she was the last one left willing to do the job. Yeah. Kyle Downey says Matt Gaetz makes me sad to be a Floridian. Hemi Lifestyle says, love you, David. Big fan, but not a stalker type fan. I appreciate that. Thank you. John Cato says, I'm in therapy twice a month with ADHD, bipolar, Asperger's, and oppositional defiant disorder, and I'm nowhere close to this level of crazy. Good Lord. That probably is the top super chat of the evening so far. Thanks, John. Well written. I like that one. Let me thank good people as she wraps up here. Nils Fensky is new member number 10 today. Paul Berg is new member number 11. Stephanie Hines is number 12. Joshua Murphy is number 13. Ashley O'Neill is number 14. And Jean Coronel is number 15. 15 folks have signed up at joinpacman.com. Love it. Love it. Also, thanks to everybody watching on Twitch and people on Twitch asking for pieces of my hair. Oh, my God, that's weird. Kyle Johnson says, so let me get this straight. They heard nothing about the policies, but here's a breakdown of the policies they presented. Which is it? Yes. Ronna McDaniel's speech is, if you watch the DNC, you heard no policy whatsoever. And here's why all of the policies are terrible and radically liberal. Dan Samoflange says $20 says that the gun couple bring their guns when they speak tonight. That's interesting. Okay. People watching, so you may or may not have heard that the couple who brandished firearms against protesters in St. Louis is speaking tonight. They are speaking tonight. Who thinks they bring their guns out and who thinks they don't? That's a beautiful question. I assume even though they're all about guns at the RNC, all of these facilities are gun-free zones, interestingly enough. So my bet is no gun. No gun, I think. Desiree DeWitt says, David, I'm with you. This is pathetic and unbearable. Tristan McCoppin says, everyone's forgotten COVID-19 numbers are suppressed or have they leaked? Love to know your thoughts. I don't trust the coronavirus numbers we're getting at this point. Just that I think that they are understated, given everything we know that's gone on. That's my sense of it. Thanks to Mr. Blunderful for the Twitch Prime subscription. Also, Bugsy's Evil Deeds. We are continuing here and building towards some kind of crescendo. What that will be like is anyone's guess. Assad Khatib says, curious, I moved to Florida a couple of years ago. Would my vote for Biden make a difference in this red state? Yes. Extremely important announcement. This is not an election to mess around with staying home or third party because you're in a very blue state or you're in a very red state. We need to run up the score, okay? The bigger the gap for the popular vote for Joe Biden, if he wins the popular vote, the more difficult it will be to generate a situation where some judge might say, this state should go, the Florida 2000 type stuff. Okay, so we need to run the score up. I'm voting in Massachusetts. Biden's going to crush. Well, he'll crush by one more because of me. Every state, we've got to run it up. Yes. Okay. Very good. Dariten says Mussolini would have loved the sick panning shots. Yeah. These videos are vile. Truly, truly vile. People asking what the coupon code is. So there's two. So the regular coupon code is 2020 now. The special coupon code at joinpacman.com is 15 year. That's 15 year, celebrating our 15th anniversary, which we celebrated yesterday, although I got the date wrong. It's embarrassing, but it's true. It was really August 17th. So, we celebrated it yesterday. You can still use the coupon code 15 year if you would like. Kivo says late-term abortions are bad, but when 170,000 die, it is what it is. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Kyle Downey says, I'm for Bernie, but voting for Biden. Correct assessment. I appreciate that. Other super chats. Jacob Ratner, Donald Trump says he wants 12 years, yet these people say Biden is a threat to democracy. The projection, oh my God. OML. OML, I don't remember what OML means. Just as a quick mimetic interjection here, just to bring a little bit of, levity. Someone sent me this today. They say this is me ripped after working out. It does sort of look like me. It's very interesting, isn't it? What do you guys think about this? This would fall under the other memes category. Anyway, if people want to use this to generate additional mimetic content, please let me know. But yeah, anyway, this was me at my gym the other day. All right, back to the insanity. Yeah, it's a disturbing video for sure. Welcome to everybody just joining us. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, we started about 10 minutes before the start of this fiasco, and we are going to do the best we can to make it to the end. It is difficult. It is very, very difficult, but we're going to try to do it. I really do appreciate the people keeping us going with the website memberships. Matthew Stromer is new member number 16. Maribel Finnan is number 17. Shannon Morgan is number 18. Martin Fife is number 19. Very much appreciate that. JoinPacman.com is available at your disposal. We are waiting for Jim Jordan. We are waiting for... Who else is scheduled for today? Let's review. Senator Tim Scott. We're going to hear from Steve Scalise. We heard already from Matt Gaetz. Jim Jordan will be speaking. Nikki Haley. We already heard from Ronna McDaniel. We heard from Charlie Blork. Who else? We heard from Tanya Weinreis. We heard from Cardinal Dolan. So, and maybe we heard from Rebecca Friedrichs already. Okay, here's someone.
So it felt right to follow in my mother's footsteps and become a nurse. And this March, when COVID-19 sent our country into crisis, I knew I had to help any way that I could. I deployed to New York in April and then to San Antonio, Texas, working as a COVID relief nurse in both states. As I contended with the challenges of treating our patients who had their worlds turned upside down, I noticed a positive change in our healthcare system. President Trump recognized the threat this virus presented for all Americans early on and made rapid policy changes. And as a result, telehealth services are now accessible to more than 71 million Americans, including 35 million children. Prior to COVID, telehealth was not covered or reimbursed under Medicare, Medicaid, or CHIP. This left our most vulnerable populations with no other choice but to have an in-person office visit with their physicians, increasing their risk of exposure to COVID-19.
I know people want to hear this one. Trust me, guys. I can tell. I can tell. I'm taking the temperature of the chat. We're gonna hear the whole thing.
Integration of video visits between patients and their families, allowing loved ones to have contact and visualization, as well as a better understanding of care. Telehealth has been essential during this pandemic. I don't want the media taking my personal story and twisting it, so let me be clear.
Okay.
As a healthcare professional, I can tell you without hesitation, Donald Trump's quick action and leadership saved thousands of lives during COVID-19. And the benefits of that response...
It saved thousands, but cost about 80,000.
Health will continue to aid many that are just unable to find transportation or a way to the doctor for regular checkups. This is especially true in rural America. I live in a town of about 2,000 people. We do not have buses, trains, trolleys, or Ubers available to us. In addition, the unavailability of services can also hinder treatment for many. So increased access to telehealth for millions of Americans has truly been life-saving, and we have President Trump to thank.
This is crazy. Oh my God, that was absolutely insane. Thanks, Philip, for the $50 super chat, by the way, who says, it's honestly all about bad tap water. All the Monsanto spray and the AMD GMO seeds combined means the entire Missouri, Mississippi River basin from North Dakota to Louisiana is nothing but bad tap water and lots of stupid people. Oh my God, that's very aggressive. That's extremely aggressive. Quadrophenia asks what I think about the Brett Weinstein Unity 2020 campaign. I'll think about it for 2024. The next president's going to be Trump or Biden. So I'm focused in on that rather than sort of hypothetical, third party runs or whatever. Courtney Pollack says 0 people of color, Donald Trump's American dream. No, Tim Scott is going to speak, and I think another black guy. So they are definitely including diversity. Plus that last woman, some people in the chat were saying might not have been white, but like, really, who cares? I don't really do identity politics stuff. Kumar says both AOC, or AOC, as I call her, and Bernie stress the importance of Biden win. She tweeted for Biden to win in November after day 1 of DNC. I'm a Yang guy voting for Biden. Disco Mutt says this speech is an auditory lobotomy. I'm down 3 IQ points. It was 2 from Charlie Blork and then 1 from that last speech. So far I've lost 3 IQ points during this thing. George Ruth says, I work for an insurance company. Telehealth was a product of private healthcare, not the government. Of course. Of course it was. Let's see what's happening on Twitch. Antisocial Lev has subscribed with Prime. Rika225 has subscribed with Prime. Brent Stone has subscribed and says, no one else I'd rather help distribute Bezos' money to. Keep up what you do. Beautiful. Absolutely love it. This might be a skip. Do we know who this gentleman is?
Decisive leadership led to a rapid and efficient response to the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh, my God.
I know this as a health professional and as someone who has recovered from COVID himself. The COVID-19 pandemic exploded into our great nation with an intensity unparalleled in history. But our medical investigation and drug development systems were not designed for a pandemic. The devastating effects of the coronavirus demanded immediate changes.
Remember that we had systems for the pandemic, like the pandemic response team and the 69-page color-coded playbook. They were disbanded and thrown in the trash.
Drug approvals, a long and drawn-out process. By harnessing the resources of the federal government and the private sector, President Trump's Operation Warp Speed is accelerating the testing, supply, development, and distribution of therapeutics, diagnostics, and very shortly, effective vaccines to counter COVID-19.
Okay.
Let me give you 3 clear examples of how President Trump's leadership removed regulatory barriers so COVID patients could have faster access to effective therapies and diagnostics. First, on February 26, 2 phase 3 clinical trials studying remdesivir were initiated. Just 2 months later.
That was when Trump was bragging about hydroxy. And now they're going back. There were like 12 drugs. This is sort of like a pick your winners thing. There was like a blanket authorization for about 10 or 12 different things. This is such revisionist history.
Second, the FDA granted expanded access to COVID-19 convalescent plasma.
Okay,
within 24 hours of this approval, we were administering convalescent plasma and remdesivir to a critically ill patient, a former Army Ranger and physician. Had it not been for the rapid deployment of these medicines, this patient, who is my colleague and friend, would have surely died.
I don't know that you can even say that. Like, is that an empirical claim?
Developed a fever and cough. I reached out to our testing team and received one of the Abbott rapid tests. Yet another tool quickly approved by this administration. Within 15 minutes, my test came back positive, and within 4 hours, I was receiving my remdesivir doses, followed by an infusion of convalescent plasma. As a physician, I've seen firsthand how these breakthroughs have saved countless lives. As a patient, I've benefited from the expedited therapies made possible by the swift action of this administration. President Trump truly moved mountains to save lives.
So I think this is an important moment to mention that, like, only if you're trying to kill people would a world leader in a situation like this not do what public health officials say from the standpoint of just authorizing treatments. Like, obviously Trump didn't shut down the economy or suggest it be shut down or masks or anything until it was too late. Every country's using all this same stuff. Like, there's nothing interesting or special to say Donnie did a big boy with the convalescent plasma thing. I have relatives in Argentina with coronavirus who could get convalescent plasma if they got sick enough. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with Donald Trump, and claiming that as a reason to reelect him is downright bizarre. Truly, truly bizarre. But they've got nothing else. That's the thing. They have to say, well, Trump did plasma, you know? Okay. People misunderstanding what I'm saying is really weird. Richard Buckley says, why are all these people not talking about how COVID is just a flu? Now they see COVID as a big problem. Yeah, which Trump solved, right? Spicy Meat Paul says, how isn't footage from Trump earlier this year calling COVID a Democratic hoax plastered everywhere? How isn't that among the Dems' ads? Thanks, David. It should be. It should be, for sure. WPTW says DNC only talked about Trump. RNC attacks citizens. Let's see what this is.
We can call it many different things, from China virus. I don't want to go through all the names because some people may get insulted, but that's the way it is. These are great, great people. Doctors, nurses, firemen, policemen. We want to thank you all. You have been incredible, and we want to thank you and all of the millions of people.
Look at him hinging forward at the hips.
Thank you all very much. Great job. Thank you. Thank you all very much. So tell me a little about your stories. How about we'll start with you?
Oh my God, this is Trump having been coached to try to be a normal person. They're literally copying what Joe Biden did, these sort of like round table panel type things. It's just copying.
Believe me, we're not getting rid of our postal workers, you know? They'd like to sort of put that out there. If anyone does, it's the Democrats, not the Republicans. I want to thank you very much and thank everybody in that whole beautiful post office system. We appreciate it. How about you?
I'm a trucker.
Good.
I own a small business in Ohio.
Great.
Coal and steel mostly. You know, some of our customers actually made hospital beds with some of the material.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations. I love the truckers. You know, they're on my side.
Thank you.
I think all of them, frankly. I think pretty much all of them.
Not the ones that call my show.
Custodian at the post office as well.
What do you do exactly?
Clean up everybody's mess and everybody's germ.
Trump doesn't know the word custodian, so he has to say, what exactly do you do? Normal people understand what a custodian does.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. And how about you?
I'm a registered nurse, President Trump. I work at a New Jersey hospital.
God,
it's
this
called
is
Virtual
awkward.
Willingboro Hospital.
Right.
I also represent an organization of professional nurses.
Trump's got to unlock those knees or he's going to have a problem.
But I want to tell you, sir, as a nursing supervisor, I am so in awe of your leadership. Honestly, I know many people have said often interesting things, but it takes a true leader to be able to ignore all that stuff and do what is right and not be offended by all the words being said. And you really do show that positive spirit to us. And as nurses, I appreciate that. But just as an individual, I'm grateful for that.
Well, I'm for the nurses. I'm for the doctors. I'm for everybody.
He's in favor
we just
of
have to
nursing.
make this China virus go away, and it's happening. Please, go ahead.
I'm also a nurse. I represent Genesis Healthcare, which is a skilled nursing facility company. I want to thank you and your administration for all the supplies and support and funding that you've given the skilled nursing units. Without that, we couldn't.
He doesn't even know how to be thanked.
I spent some time in New Jersey. I live in West Virginia, went to New Jersey and did some work there. And we finally started to see things change and turn around.
I appreciate what you said because
we
have delivered billions of dollars of equipment that governors were supposed to give, and in many cases, they didn't get. So the federal government...
This is way more entertaining than the DNC. I mean, it's a signal of the downfall of our country's entire educational and cognitive capacity system, but it's far more entertaining.
In Inglewood, Colorado, and I contracted COVID in late March.
Cool badge.
And recovered.
That means we don't have to be afraid of you at all, right?
I'm good to
Once
go.
you're recovered, you know, we have the whole thing with plasma happening.
Plasma.
That means your blood is very valuable. You know that, right? Thank you very much. Great. Please.
I'm a detention deputy at the Kern County Sheriff's Department out in California.
Great.
And I also contracted COVID end of March and recovered from that also.
How long was your problem?
I was sick about 10 days, really bad. I got everything besides a cough, but recovered. I was off work for a month and a half, and I work in our local county jails.
Did they do anything specifically to help you recover?
They gave me Z-Paks medication, cough syrup.
Okay, and I won't even ask you about the hydroxychloroquine because it's a shame what they've done to that one, but,
well, it doesn't
but
work.
I took it. I took the Z-Pak also, and zinc. I want to thank you all very much. It's an honor to have you in the White House. You're fantastic people, and the people you represent an incredible group of people, and we love you all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good evening. I'm Congressman Jim Jordan, representing the 4th District of Ohio. The Republican Party is the pro-America party. President Trump is the pro-America candidate. This election is about who can preserve the values, principles, and institutions that make America great. Don't believe me? Look at what's happening in American cities. Cities all run by Democrats. Crime, violence, and mob rule. Democrats refuse to denounce the mob, and their response to the chaos? Defund the police, defund Border Patrol, and defund our military. And while they're doing all this, they're also trying to take away your guns. Look at the positions they've taken in the past few months. Democrats won't let you go to church, but they'll let you protest. Democrats won't let you go to work, but they'll let you riot. And Democrats won't let you go to school.
Remember, churches wanted to be able to take COVID money. And so, but they wanted to have it both ways when it comes to, are they essential or not? Do they get COVID money or not? And then these guys like to say, oh, Democrats just didn't want you to pray.
Trump fights back. They tried the Russia hoax, the Mueller investigation, and the fake impeachment. But in spite of this unbelievable opposition, this president has done what he said he would do. Taxes cut, regulations reduced, economy growing, lowest unemployment in 50 years, out of the Iran deal, embassy in Jerusalem, hostages home from North Korea.
Remember, unemployment's like 13% right now.
Of course, he's building the wall and rebuilding our economy as we speak. I love the president's intensity and his willingness to fight every day in Washington for our families. But what I also appreciate about the president is something most Americans never get to see.
Yeah.
How much he truly cares about people. Our family has seen it. 2 years ago, our nephew Eli was killed in a car accident. He lived a mile up the road from us, grew up wrestling and training with our boys, was a high school state champion, varsity athlete for the university.
Jordan's backstory with wrestling is not good.
3 days after the accident, I walked to the car to head up to Eli's parents' home when the president called. We talked about a few issues, and then he asked how the family was doing. I said, they're doing okay, Mr. President, but it's tough. The president said, yeah, losing a loved one is always difficult, and it's really tough when they're so young. I then said, Mr. President, I'm actually walking into their house right now. Obviously, they don't know that I'm talking to you, but if you'd be willing to say hello to Eli's dad, you'd make a terrible day a little less terrible. What's his name, the president asked. I walked through the door and said, Todd, the president wants to talk to you.
Powerful story, right?
Minutes, family and friends sat in complete silence as the president of the United States took time to talk to a dad who was hurting. That's the president I've gotten to know the last 4 years. The president who shared private moments like this with soldiers, victims of violent crime, and people who've had businesses destroyed by the mob. That's the individual who's made America great again and who knows America's best days are still in front of us. And that's why I'm busting my tail to help him get reelected. I'm asking you to do the same. Thank you, and God bless our country.
I'm not an actor, a singer, or a politician. I'm Herschel Walker. Most of you know me as a football player, but I'm also a father, a man of faith, and a very good judge of character.
Yeah.
I've known Donald Trump for 37 years, and I don't mean just casual ran into him from time to time. I'm talking about a deep personal friendship. I watched him as an owner of a professional football team. Right after he bought the team, he set out to learn. He learned about the history of the team, the players, the coaches, every detail. Then he used what he learned to make the team better. I watched him in the boardroom. He can be in the middle of a big meeting, but if one of the kids was on the phone, he dropped everything to take the call. He taught me that the family should be your top priority. I watched him treat janitors, security guards, and waiters.
Who's he talking about? Doesn't sound like Trump.
He made them special because he knew they were. He understands that they are the people who make this country run. They clean, they cook, they build, they drive, they deliver. He told me, Herschel, make an effort to get to know people. Remember their names. That stuck with me. One time, I planned to take his kids to Disney World with my family. At the last minute, Donald said he'd like to join us. So there he was, in a business suit, on It's a Small World ride. That was something to see. It just shows you what a caring, loving father he is. It hurt my soul to hear the terrible names that people call Donald. The worst one is racist. I take it as a personal insult that people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist.
Why would that be weird?
People who think that don't know what they're talking about. Growing up in the Deep South, I've seen racism up close.
By the way, weren't Republicans against identity politics? I could have sworn that.
Because someone loves and respects the flag, our national anthem, and our country, doesn't mean they don't care about social justice. I care about all those things. So does Donald Trump. He shows how much he cares about social justice in the black community through his actions. And his action speaks louder than stickers or slogans on a jersey. He keeps right on fighting to improve the lives of black Americans and all Americans. He works night and day. He never stops. He leaves nothing on the field. Some people don't like his style, the way he knocks down obstacles that get in the way of his goals. People on the opposing team didn't like when I ran over them either, but that's how you get the job done. I pray every night that God gives him more time.
Oh, God.
Give him 4 more years.
Hope God's not
He
listening.
has accomplished so much almost all by himself on a constant attack. But there's still more work to be done. If you love America and want to make it better, Donald Trump is your president. He's my president, and I'm blessed to call him friend.
Good evening. I'm Natalie Harp, a formerly forgotten American from California.
Okay, we're going to mute this one for a bit. We've done a few in a row. Oh my God. I mean, this is going to be a battle to make it until the end. We've still got 100 minutes to go of this complete and utter insanity. Poopy Man says on Twitch, if Trump is saying he took a Z-Pack and zinc, is he admitting he had COVID? I wondered the same thing. This is crazy. This is a great time to get super chats in if you're watching on YouTube. Jim Adelberg says traumatic brain injury must suck. Well, we don't know that. That's rude. Bread Chaser says Jim Jordan reminds me of Jordan Chase from Dexter. Ian Jones says, is there any hypothetical scenario you support a third-party candidate in 2020, like late progressive candidate with massive momentum? You're in a fantasy world. It's going to be Biden or Trump. I'm voting Biden. Cyrex says, and on the third day, God created the Remington bolt-action rifle so that man could fight the dinosaurs and the homosexuals. That's good. I like that. That's very solid. If you're just joining us, we are all together in an act of community trying to survive just the first hour of what are going to be 10 hours of this week. It's absolutely insane. If you are watching on YouTube, please consider yourself invited to hit the subscribe button. We're just 800 subscribers from 965K. You understand now? 965,000, and we have 13,000 people watching. So let's do the beautiful thing. Let's do 965,000. Really, really love it. Philip Nauman says bad tap water. Bronx Bjorn says, if you look real close, he looks terrified. He might be caught blinking out Morse code, the token Southern African American. Oh, my God. Nicole says, David, you're the only person getting me through this. Please don't quit. LOL, I need you. I tell the same things you do. Best watching TV by myself ever. Bread Chaser says this is all about praising Trump. Of course. Trump will be praised. Trump must be praised. Desiree DeWitt says, David, I'm sorry. Thank you, sir, for plasma and rum reservoir. Yes, Trump has dramatically lowered fatalities by giving Yoseminites plasma and rum reservoir. This is not the figure skater Tanya Harding, no, for people asking. Nils Fensky says, David, I'm worried. I don't think your whole audience has enough IQ points combined for this. By the end, we may all be Trump voters. Yeah, I announced a few minutes ago, I've lost 3 IQ points just in the first 55 minutes of this so far. So I'm going to need something, maybe a Z-Pack, I don't even know, hydroxy or a bleach injection to boost it, because I am losing IQ points by the minute. Let me say thank you to people who are supporting the show on my website. Bridget Stahovic is new member number 20. Lita McHugh is number 21. Kimberly Carranza is number 22. Jack Rodriguez is 23. Kyle McGee is 24. And Yaya Taoui is number 25. And you know that when we get to 25, I like to say, let's go for 50. Why not? Why not? Let's go for 50. Tristan Nichelle says Trump was sued by the Nixon administration for racism. That's true. Anon says, I feel like I'm trapped on my racist grandpa's fever dream after he passed out in front of Fox News from eating an inappropriate amount of hot dogs. Not unlike what I'm experiencing right now. I will admit that. Thanks to SF City for subscribing on Twitch, as well as Anthony W. and Bitchin' Kitchen. has subscribed at tier 1. It looks like this individual is rapping. Let's see who is next. And maybe it would be something we want to listen to. We're still waiting for Tim Scott. Okay.
Hello, America. My name is Vernon Jones, and I'm a state representative from the great state of Georgia. As you can see, I'm a man of color, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, too.
Wow.
You may be wondering, why is a lifelong Democrat speaking at the Republican National Convention? And that's a fair question, and here's your answer. The Democratic Party does not want black people to leave their mental plantation. We've been forced to be there for decades and generations.
Oh, my God.
But I have news for Joe Biden. We are free. We are free people with free minds. And I'm part of a lot
This is the height of identity politics.
Of the black community who are independent thinkers, and we believe that Donald Trump is the president that America needs to lead us forward. This is no time for sleeping in the basement. Joe Biden has had 47 years to produce results, but he's been all talk and no action, just like so many of the Democrats who've been making promises to the black voters for decades.
Okay.
We've been their captive audience. When President Trump sought to earn the black vote, the Democratic Party leaders went crazy. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer literally started wearing kente cloths around the U.S. Capitol, as if pandering were enough to keep us satisfied. Let me tell you why I'm supporting our president.
Yeah, it's not clear.
I grew up in the South, in Laurel Hill, North Carolina, Scotland County, the Green Pond community to be exact. My parents, Robin and Rufus Jones, built with their own hands a 4-room cinder block home with no indoor plumbing. They had very limited education, but they instilled in us a strong work ethic that drove me from those tobacco fields of North Carolina to those hallowed halls of the Georgia General Assembly.
Okay.
My parents taught me if I believed in God, worked hard, and treated every person fairly, there was no limit to what we could achieve. I attended North Carolina Central University, an historical black college. For generations, HBCUs have been the incubators that develop black scholars in math and science and religion, engineering, and politics. They have been important springboards for the black success. But Democrats haven't treated them that way. When President Trump took office, he changed everything. He delivered historic funding to HBCUs, and he guaranteed it for 10 years, something that's never happened in the history of this country. That gave our HBCUs stability, the chance to grow, and produce the next generation of black leaders. That's right, Donald Trump did that.
Powerful story.
He's also supported school choice to ensure that no child, no matter their race or zip code, is left behind. Every child should have access to a quality education. But education is just the beginning. The president also built the most inclusive economy ever, with record low unemployment for African Americans and record high participation in the workforce. He put opportunity zones in the Trump tax bill that would drive investment into our communities for decades to come. He put the interests of American workers, and especially black workers, first. That's right, Donald Trump did that. He delivered historic criminal justice reform. He ended once and for all the policy of incarceration of black people, which has decimated our communities, caused by no other than Joe Biden.
You might be wondering, how didn't I hear about any of this stuff that Trump did? And it's because he didn't do it.
And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris definitely wouldn't do it. But Donald Trump did it. God. He's also working every day to make our communities safer. As a former executive of DeKalb County, Georgia, I directed one of the largest public safety departments in the Southeast. I've seen tragic shootings on both sides. Officers killing citizens and citizens killing officers in the line of duty. Police officers are our fellow citizens. They live in our country. They have families too. They live in our communities. Unfortunately, Democrats have turned their backs on our brave police officers. They call it defunding, and it's a danger to our cities, our neighborhoods, and our children. Isn't it ironic that Democrat politicians have personal security to protect them? So why don't they forego their security and replace them with social workers, especially
How is that at all logical?
For you and me? Our police need more funding, not less.
I don't know if he knows the definition of irony.
For non-lethal remote restraint technology, and for more de-escalation and use of force training. These are the common sense solutions that President Trump supports. True, sincere police reform. That's right, Donald Trump did that too. Education, jobs, safety, security, on issue after issue. And in just a single term, he destroyed these negative forces that have victimized the black community for decades. He gave us the opportunity to rise. Now, you know, when I made the public announcement of my support for President Trump,
yeah, nobody cared.
All hell broke loose.
Nobody cared.
I was threatened, called an embarrassment, and asked to resign by my own party.
Okay, all that is true. But
unfortunately,
really cared.
That's consistent with the Democratic Party and how they view independent thinking black men and women.
No, it's how we view people who make political decisions that make no sense unless there's some weird explanation we've not been told.
Louder than ever. The Democratic Party has become infected with a pandemic of intolerance, bigotry, socialism, anti-law enforcement bias, and a dangerous tolerance for people who attack others, destroy their property, and terrorize our own communities. That's what this election is all about. And that's why right now, more than ever before, America needs Donald Trump in the Oval Office for another 4 years. God bless you, and vote Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
Wow. What a disastrous speech. This is a great time to get your super chats in. I don't know if we're going to be doing this one. Royal Empire Vlog says he's a paid actor. Trump hasn't done any of what he's saying. No, certainly not. Yabbit says Ronald Reagan asked in 1980, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Are you? Enough Said says thank you. Eric Lavanier says Charlie Kirk started the RNC saying the DNC didn't talk about policy. I haven't heard a single policy so far tonight. Am I really here? Says Trump doesn't even know how to be near children, much less care about them. Poor other token black man. Okay.
A freshman girl to protect her. She draped her body over her, and then the scumbag gunman shot my daughter at point blank range 5 more times, killing Meadow and the girl she was shielding. She had a whole life ahead of her. And in that life, she could have done anything and been anything. So many moments that I waited so long for were taken from me. I didn't get to drop her off at college. I didn't get to walk her down the aisle. But every moment was taken from her, and for what? I never wanted this to become a political spectacle, but it did. I never wanted to meet the president like this, but I did. I was invited to the White House. The truth is, I had just buried my daughter that week. I really wasn't interested in public events like a tour or a photo op. I was interested in answers and solutions. So if the president wanted to meet me personally, I said I'd go. They said, of course, that was his plan. At the White House, my family and I sat with the president in the Oval Office and told him about Meadow. I told him what we knew. I told him that his administration needed to take a closer look at what went wrong and why. And I got to see who President Trump really is. He's a good man and a great listener, and he cuts through the BS. Then the president did what he said he would do. He took action. He formed a school safety commission that issued dozens of recommendations to make schools safer. But I'll bet you never heard about that. Instead, the media turned my daughter's murder into a coordinated attack on President Trump, Republicans, and our Second Amendment. In fact, when President Trump asked me and other parents of children that were murdered in school shootings to join him as he announced the commission's findings, the media's first question wasn't about protecting kids. Shockingly, they asked about the government shutdown. President Trump turned to me appalled and said, "Andy, can you believe these people? We're trying to talk about school safety, and this is what they do." But I could believe it. After my daughter's murder, the media didn't seem interested in the facts.
Wouldn't this be the perfect guy to say we need gun safety regulations?
Control laws didn't fail my daughter. People did. The gunman had threatened to kill his classmates before. He had threatened to rape them. He had threatened to shoot up the school. Every red flag you could imagine. But the school didn't just miss these red flags. They knowingly ignored them. Far-left Democrats in our school district made this shooting possible because they implemented something they called restorative justice. This policy, which really just blames teachers for students' failures, puts kids and teachers at risk and makes shootings more likely. But it was billed as a...
This is obviously crazy, but what I'm thinking of is, like, if you're in some way undecided and you see this guy, does this guy convince you to vote for Trump?
It was called discipline and safety. But the Obama-Biden administration took Parkland's bad policies and forced them into schools across America. When President Trump rescinded Obama's guidance on restorative justice policies, he put an end to that. And that meant the world to me. It's hard to tell how much Mr. Biden understands about what happened at Parkland. Mr. Biden has campaigned on bringing back restorative justice as part of his unity platform with Bernie Sanders and has pledged to implement it in school districts across America.
Okay.
But he doesn't even seem to know when the shooting happened. He said that he was vice president when it happened, but he wasn't. Mr. Biden may not know when my daughter was murdered, but I do. February 14, 2018. Mr. Biden may not know that these policies make shootings more likely, but I do. Mr. Biden may not know who was vice president that day, but I do. It wasn't Joe Biden. It was Mike Pence. Thank God. And I know who the president was, too. It wasn't Barack Obama. It was President Donald J. Trump, and he took action. I truly believe the safety of our kids depends on whether this man is reelected. I hope you'll join me in helping to make that happen.
In the opposite way, though.
Mr. President, myself and millions of Americans appreciate you and love you. God bless America, and God bless our president, Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
I would be the last person to tell this guy that he's grieving the loss of his daughter incorrectly. I just don't understand the connection to why anybody would vote Trump on the basis of what that guy experienced. It actually seems crazy. Let me say a few thank yous. Elliot Chase is new member number 26 today. Mary Foreman is number 27. Rebecca Christensen is number 28. Rosalba Rios is number 29. Salman Khan is, that's interesting, is number 30. I wonder, I mean, I guess that's a pretty common name, but could that possibly be Sal Khan from Khan Academy? That would be very, very interesting. Okay. Is this a St. Louis couple?
Defending our home as a mob of protesters descended on our neighborhood.
America is such a great country that not only do you have the right to own a gun and use it to defend yourself, but thousands of Americans will offer you free advice on how to use it. At least that's what we experienced.
These people are horrible.
What you saw happen to us could just as easily happen to any of you who are watching from quiet neighborhoods around our country. And that's what we want to speak to you about tonight.
That's exactly right. Whether it's the defunding of police ending cash.
Understand that had they not pointed guns at protesters protesting against police brutality, they wouldn't be here today.
Or encouraging anarchy and chaos on our streets. It seems as if the Democrats no longer view the government's job as protecting honest citizens from criminals, but rather protecting criminals from honest citizens. Not a single person in the out-of-control mob you saw at our house was charged with a crime. But you know who was?
Did they commit any crimes?
We were. They've actually charged us with felonies for daring to defend our home.
Yeah, didn't they brandish firearms?
On top of that, consider this. The Marxist liberal activist leading the mob to our neighborhood stood outside our home with a bullhorn screaming, "You can't stop the revolution." Just weeks later, that same Marxist activist won the Democrat nomination to hold a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. In the city of St. Louis, that's the same as winning the general election. That Marxist revolutionary is now going to be the Congresswoman from the 1st District of Missouri. These radicals are not content with marching in the streets. They want to walk the halls of Congress. They want to take over. They want power.
Most activists want to be part of institutional power. Yeah, that's like not really a huge bang.
They're not satisfied with spreading the chaos and violence into our communities. They want to abolish the suburbs altogether by ending single-family home zoning. This forced rezoning would bring crime, lawlessness, and low-quality apartments into now thriving suburban neighborhoods. President Trump smartly ended this government overreach, but Joe Biden wants to bring it back. These are the policies that are coming to a neighborhood near you. So make no mistake, no matter where you live, your family will not be safe in the radical Democrats' America.
Seems like a parody.
At this moment in history, if you stand up for yourself and for the values our country was founded on, the mob, spurred on by their allies in the media, will try to destroy you. You've seen us on your TV screens and Twitter feeds. You know that we're not the kind of people who back down.
Is any of this live?
There is Donald Trump. President Trump will defend the God-given right of every American to protect their homes and their families. But more than that, Trump's vision for America is a country where you have an opportunity to work hard and build the life you dream of, with a job you love, with your children being educated in great schools, in a community where your family can play in the backyard without fear, worship in a church without shame, and express your beliefs without retribution. Trump brought us the greatest economy our country had ever seen.
It's insane that these people are here merely because they pointed guns at others.
When we don't have basic safety and security in our communities, we'll never be free to build a brighter future for ourselves, for our children, or for our country. That's what's at stake in this election, and that's why we must re-elect Donald Trump.
Okay.
God bless you. God bless the president. And God bless these United States.
And now it's Kimberly Guilfoyle, recovered from COVID-19.
Good evening, America. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle. I speak to you tonight as a mother, a former prosecutor, a Latina, and a proud American. And yes, a proud supporter of President Donald J. Trump.
Cringe.
Why? Because he is the president who delivers for America.
And I'm dating his son.
The greatest economy the world has ever known, for the strivers, the working class and middle class. As commander-in-chief, he always puts America first. President Trump is the law and order president. Now, presidential leadership is not guaranteed. It is a choice. Biden, Harris, and the rest of the socialists will fundamentally change this nation. They want open borders, closed schools, dangerous amnesty, and will selfishly send your jobs back to China while they get rich. They will defund, dismantle, and destroy America's law enforcement. When you are in trouble and need police, don't count on the Democrats.
This seems like SNL. You couldn't parody this because it would be no crazier.
Their socialist agenda is. My mother, Mercedes, was a special education teacher from Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. My father, also an immigrant, came to this nation in pursuit of the American dream. Now I consider it my duty to fight to protect that dream. Rioters must not be allowed to destroy our cities. Human sex drug traffickers should not be allowed to cross our border. The same socialist policies which destroyed places like Cuba and Venezuela must not take root in our cities.
Right. Remember, there's no risk that that's going to happen.
We want to see the socialist Biden-Harris future for our country.
Yeah, neither Biden nor Harris are even close to socialists.
It is a place of immense wealth, immeasurable innovation, and immaculate environment. And the Democrats turned it into a land of discarded heroin needles in parks, riots in streets, and blackouts in homes. In President Trump's America, we light things up. We don't dim them down. We build things up. We don't burn them down.
It's like a preacher
We
type
kneel
thing.
in prayer, and we stand for our flag. This election is a battle for the soul of America. Your choice is clear. Do you support the cancel culture, the cosmopolitan elites of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Joe Biden, who blame America first?
This is crazy.
Do you think America is to blame? Or
Trump's
do
to
you
blame.
believe in American greatness? Believe in yourself, in President Trump, in individual and personal responsibility. They want to destroy this country and everything that we have fought for and hold dear. They want to steal your liberty, your freedom. They want to control what you see and think and believe so that they can control how you live. They want to enslave you to the weak, dependent, liberal, victim ideology to the point that you will not recognize this country or yourself. From the beginning, when President Trump spoke about making America great again, he was speaking about that shining city on a hill and restoring the beacon of light that once shined so bright. His promise was to put America first, and he has. When President Trump cut middle-class taxes, putting tens of thousands of dollars back in the pockets of working-class Americans.
Yeah, is she aware there's cameras in the room?
Once again. When President Trump commanded the defeat of ISIS, took out al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, and paved the way for peace in the Middle East, that beacon started to glow. When he negotiated historic trade deals with Canada, Mexico, Japan, and China.
Should I just switch to that whenever it gets really bad?
Bring jobs to America, that beacon shined bright once again for the world to see. America, it's all on the line. President Trump believes in you. He emancipates and lifts you up to live your...
If you saw someone doing this on the subway, it would probably qualify for a 72-hour psych hold.
You are powerful and you have the ability to choose your life and determine your destiny.
Wow.
Don't let the Democrats take you for granted. Don't let them step on you. Don't let them destroy your families, your lives, and your future. Don't let them kill future generations because they told you and brainwashed you and fed you lies that you weren't good enough.
Kill who?
Like my parents, you can achieve your American dream. You can be that shining example to the world. Manifest and be the change in this country that you dream, that you hope, that you believe in.
I almost feel like I need to more regularly mention that I'm Hispanic. Clearly, this is teaching me I'm not mentioning it enough.
Loves this country and will fight for her. President Trump is the leader who will rebuild the promise of America and ensure that every citizen can realize their American dream. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come.
Was this a medical event? Oh my God. Wow. I've never seen anything like that. I think I need to tweet about this, right? Like I need to say something about it. Watching this Republican convention is really making me think I need to be constantly mentioning that I'm Hispanic in absolutely any situation, regardless of whether it's relevant. Wow, what a wow. Okay, this is Steve Scalise. We're going to skip Steve Scalise because we need to cool down just a little bit. Let me see what people are saying via Super Chat. If you have thoughts, I want to specifically take Super Chats on Kimberly Guilfoyle's rant. Oh my God. Tyler Lynn says, how much of this event is motivated by mendacity and how much of it is driven by stupidity and blind faith? It's hard to put a specific numbers on it. Do you think these people believe the things they're saying? Many of them don't. Nicole just projectile vomited. John Goodfriend says, David, don't you think Kimberly looks like the creature from Black Lagoon? I don't want to focus on her physical appearance. What she said is crazy. Okay, Incomplete Joker thinks that was a sexual experience for her. Miguel is just in a WTF situation. Some people think that there were drugs involved there. I think so far the funniest is Nicole with I just projectile vomited. We have a user, Chakoseki, who's very clever and may come in soon with a funny super chat. Plexus says, your country is not well. I am so sorry. Yeah. I mean, listen, if there's anything good about this, it's that people seem to be understanding how bad off we are, and they're getting memberships on my website and recognizing we should support independent media. Curtis Mort is new member 31. Christine Stewart just signed up as number 32 at joinpacman.com. Diana Ellis is number 33. And David Dillman is number 34. So I really appreciate the support, but these people are not well. That was genuinely terrifying. Genuinely terrifying. Oh my God. I don't even know how to react to that. Let's see. I think we've got to go to David Pakman workout guy deepfake to recover. Oh my God. Okay. Let's all calm down. Oh man. So, okay. Beautiful question on Twitch. Before Kimberly Guilfoyle spoke, I estimate 3 IQ points during this event. I think I lost another 4 just from Kimberly alone. So I'm down 7 points now. And I'm trying to avoid losing an 8th point, which is why we're not listening to Steve Scalise right now. Mikkel Browning says she forgot her can of Goya beans. Okay, Negan's getting a little too aggressive for this. We have kids that watch this with their parents, so we're not going to do that. Matt Bond says, can we build a wall around these people and make it padded? These people are out of their minds. And you know, what you have to remember is that somewhere between 60 and 68 million people are going to vote for this again, a second time. Like, even if Trump loses, he'll certainly get 60 million votes. And if he wins, he could get, 66, 67, 68 million. Here is, who's this? I don't even know who this is.
And it is an honor to be here. In 2006, the Army sent me to Afghanistan as a young platoon leader, placed in command of Americans from every corner of our planet. Our platoon reflected the diversity of our nation, every race, creed, and religion. Despite those differences, we were bound together as brothers from the same American family. On June 10, 2006, our platoon was attacked just after dawn. Outnumbered 10-1, we endured mortar and machine gun fire as hundreds of Taliban charged us from three sides. We had 24 men that day. Wave after...
Guys, how is it... Are people watching from around the world? And, like, how is... Is anybody else embarrassed? Because this is embarrassing. This is just insane. These people are crazy. This doesn't make any sense. Ajamu Omawale is confused about Kimberly Guilfoyle's parents. I'm going to have to talk about the Kimberly Guilfoyle thing tomorrow on the podcast. I'm confused about her parents' citizenships. Are her parents citizens? Ux Masida says they're barely mentioning COVID. I wonder why. Quirky Quip says, hey, I sent a super chat. Quirky, there have been so many. I'm trying to keep up with them, but it's really, really tough. We've got about 13,000 people watching, and these super chats are pouring in. They're just pouring in. Mac Jasso says, black conservatives are the build-up to Jesse Lee Peterson amazing. Annette Dion says, bad choice of speaker with the bounties on soldiers there, WTF. It's all going bad. People on Twitch are about to destroy all of their technology. It looks like we've got 1,600 people watching on Twitch. I think 700 people are about to throw their phones in the trash. Another 700 are about to set their laptops on fire. And the 200 that are left have stepped away and they're just not watching. I mean, this is like really, really, to call this weaponized is an understatement. Weaponized doesn't even begin to cover it. Okay, all right, I guess we'll listen a little more to this.
You to conformity and will destroy anyone they deem a heretic. I swore an oath to defend my country and its Constitution. President Trump has sworn to do the same. That's why he's advanced freedom despite savage political attacks to overcome the agenda of the radical left. President Trump has unleashed the economic might of this nation like no other president in our history. He triggered the rising tide of working families, brought us energy independence, reclaimed jobs from overseas that, Democrats said would never return. He has fiercely defended the besieged First and Second Amendments. That is just a start. With 4 more years, imagine what we can achieve by simply working with our president. I believe in our president's vision for the future. I stand here tonight calling on all Americans to join us. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you love, how you worship your gender or your job. If you're a traditional Democrat who's become disillusioned with how radical your party has become, then stand with us. You are most welcome. America needs all her patriots to rush to her defense.
Holy shit.
My fellow Americans, I promise you this. In our tent, you are free. Free to speak the truth, choose your journey, define your life. You have the power to go as far as you aim, then aim higher and keep going, because that is what Americans do. We are idealists and dreamers, lovers of adventure. We're rugged and independent. We don't make excuses. We make the impossible a reality. Think about it. In a century, we went from ground-bound dreamers gazing to the stars to doers who created the means to reach them. This is not the time to stand on the sidelines. If you love our country as we do, as our president does, join the chorus of patriot voices that will preserve this exceptional union. Mr. President, lead the way. Millions in our American family believe in this path to destiny.
Hey, this is funny. 2 simultaneous super chats about drinking. Mark said, taking a shot every time someone banned from running a charity is on the screen. Betty Ford Clinic is on speed dial. Sean said, tried taking a shot of whiskey with every BS comment and couldn't make it past Matt Gaetz. Yeah. Pacman's little bot says this has to be SNL. The wig's coming off, right? You can't do SNL can't do a show about this, because how do you make it crazier for the purposes of satire? You can't do it. You can't do it. Thanks to Tyson J. Miller for the Twitch Prime subscription. Always love those Bezos bucks. Oh my God, the super chats are coming in faster than I can read them. People are mad. People want a laugh track. Chad Okada says, aloha from Hawaii. David, any chance of doing a deep dive on the personality cult that the Republican right has become? I have an interview with a guy named Stephen Hassan about that, actually. So we've dealt with that. Oh my God. My Twitter, by the way, is exploding. I'm terrible on Twitter. I sent a few tweets and some people seem to be liking them. Primarily this one. I think Crystal Ball retweeted me and it's probably giving it a boost. Wow. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on here. Thomas Busby says, we're free as long as we suck up to old Donny Boy. Yeah, very much so. If you're just joining us, listen, if you're sticking around, people are watching on average 10.5 minutes on this stream. And that's, I get it. I get why people are bailing on average after 10 minutes. This is completely nuts, completely nuts. Riley Callahan says, holy hell, they politicized the military. Of course. Of course. They would never, of course. Wendy Davis says, I'm originally from the Bahamas. I used to think this was the greatest country on earth. Now this country is an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment under Trump. We can start to repair. I think it's important for people not to forget that. Thanks to Bronx Knight for the Twitch Prime subscription. As a moment of zen, at any time when things get too intense, I go over to deepfake Jim David. This is deepfake Jim David with a beard. This was me after working on my lats. I feel like this cools everybody off to a certain degree when it gets really, really bad during the RNC. Okay. Ricardo Sanchez in Spanish. Remember, guys, I'm Hispanic. I know the RNC taught me I have to repeat that. Saludos, David Pacman, desde Nashville, Tennessee. Beautiful. I love it. Love it. OE, despite all the crazy speakers, Trump not knowing what a custodian does is still the best part of the night. That was an amazing moment. That was really an amazing moment. Kay says condolences from Australia. Lil Quinoa Pacheto says my ulcer just formed its own ulcer. I understand that. Yeah, I'm shell-shocked. I'm shell-shocked. Here's the upside. We only have 57 minutes to go. That's the upside. Thanks to Trevor Shorman, who's new member number 35 today. Harpo from NSYNC is number 36 today. Hunter Knight is number 37. Robin Edwards is new member number 38. Stephanie Bain is number 39. Chris and Jenny S. are number 40. And Robert Steger is number 41. And I don't want to forget about Ryan Wong. Ryan Wong is number 42. You can send a little tip, if you please, by signing up at joinpacman.com. 42 people have done it. Okay. Oh, here's another one of these. This is crazy.
Who were held hostage by various countries. And I'm very pleased to let everybody know that we brought back over 50 hostages from 22 different countries.
This is straight up copied from Biden's DNC.
Brian and others. And I will tell you, we're very proud of the job we did. But I'd like to ask maybe Pastor Brunson to say a few words so we can go through and just give us a little history of what happened and how is life treating you?
I was held in Turkey for 2 years, and you took unprecedented steps, actually, to secure my release, and your administration really fought for me. And I think if you hadn't done that, I may still be in Turkey. So I'm very grateful.
28 years, right? They had you there they had you scheduled for a long time, Andrew.
Yes.
We had to get you back. And I have to say that, to me, President Erdogan was very good. And I know they had you scheduled for a long time, and you were a very innocent person. And he ultimately, after we had a few conversations, he agreed. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the people of Turkey. And you still appreciate the people of Turkey, I understand, right?
We love the Turkish people. We still
That's great. It's great to have you back, Andrew. Thank you. Please.
Mr. President, thank you for having me. My name is Sam Goodwin. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I was held in Syria for 63 days, and I think I speak for my fellow former hostages and detainees here when I say I'm as grateful as I've ever been for anything to be home safely. And thank you for the invitation and opportunity to be here. Particularly, Ambassador O'Brien was incredibly supportive and helpful to my family, and can't say enough nice things about him. Thank you for promoting him.
Good.
And just really happy to be here, so thank you.
We got you back.
You got me back, yeah.
We got you all back, and we have
some more that we're working on right now to get back that we better do. Please, go ahead.
My name is Michael White, Mr. President. I do, once again, it's an honor to be here, honor to meet you in person. Basically, what had happened with me is...
This is all chopped up really weirdly. I think you guys can probably tell it's edited strangely.
...trap, and I was apprehended there. I went through a lot in their injustice system, in the Iranian justice system. Iran is an oppressive, extortionist, terrorist regime. You know what I'm talking about. But what you did, sir, is you were able to get me out of that prison in record time. It was amazing.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you,
really
President. The honor's all mine.
Please.
Yeah, my name's Josh Holt. This is my wife, Tammy.
Yes.
We were held hostage in Venezuela for 2 years.
I know very well.
And you helped us get out. Senator Hatch worked with you very well on that as well. And it was a great honor to be able to meet you right when we got back. And I remember a lot of people asking me, what was it like meeting President Trump? And I just say I was blown away. I'd just gotten released after 2 years. Then I'm shaking the hand of the president in the Oval Office. So I don't really remember a whole lot of it. So it's nice to meet you again. And it's been great. It's been great to be back, helping people through situations that they've gone through. And now we have started our family.
Well, the great people of Utah really wanted me to do something about the two of you, and we were able to do it. And a little bit of a miracle, I think, frankly.
It was.
Because that was a very hostile period. And we appreciate everybody.
Trump declares things he did as miracles.
To get you both back. And are you living in Utah now, I hope?
We're still living in Utah.
That's good. We'll say hello to the folks in Utah because they're great people. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please.
I'm Brian Aaron. Spent an unexpected trip there in India. I was not going to India. I was going through India to Nepal, where I've been working for the last 18 years. But on behalf of my family and myself, thank you, President Trump, for getting us out and getting us home.
So basically, this is just
the darkest moment.
People have to show up and suck up to Trump.
Your letter to my wife came, and it really gave her the hope and the peace. And
that's great.
From that time forward, as more people got involved, especially the ambassador there in India, things became more peaceful, and the hope was there for the last 4 months that we really would get to come home, because they had planned on keeping me for 3 to 5 years. The original charge thing was 3 to 5 years,
right.
And that was cleared, and then they came up with new charges to do a 7-year term.
Well, India responded very well to my request, so we appreciate that.
And I appreciate everything y'all did.
Thank you all for being with us. We have a few more people we want to get back, and we will get them back, and they'll be back very soon. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great stories.
Hello, my name is Maximo Alvarez. I live in Miami, Florida.
Okay, so I just want to mute the... Oh, wait. This guy's not Argentinian, is he? Oh, God. From his accent, I'm not... Oh, my God. Please tell me he's not Argentinian.
It divides freedom from fear. It divides the past from the present, from the future. I know all
Cuban.
about the past.
Okay. I was going to say, the only conservative Latino folks in the U.S. tend to be Cubans, and this guy is Cuban. Okay, listen, people are asking for me to make this available, the deepfake buff Jim David. I can post a link to it right now in both YouTube and Twitch chat, but I need people to promise that you're going to make other stuff with it. I need people to promise that you're going to bring me the beautiful memes and make other stuff with it if I post it, okay? Because I don't want to just post it and then it goes nowhere. I want by tomorrow morning creative other stuff sent to me. Okay, people are saying yes. Okay. All right, pasting it in YouTube a few times and then now pasting it in Twitch. Okay, that is the deepfake Buff David thing. So people can run wild with it and then send me links to stuff via my website contact form. QB Highlights is asking, do I think Trump will decline in the polls after this? You know, you would think so, but life is not fair, and 63 million people voted for him in 2016, so who the hell knows? Negan the Cliffhanger says, imagine spending 2 years as a hostage, and then the first thing you have to do when you come back is shake Trump's hand. An ugly thought. An ugly thought. Neil Merchant says, your commentary is my anchor to sanity amidst the truly unhinged ramblings of all these Trump sycophants. Congrats again on 15 years. Cheers to many more. I appreciate that and very much appreciate all of the super chats that are coming in. You can also follow my live tweeting at, whoa, hold on, that's not it. At Deepak, I'm D. Pacman on Twitter, and you can follow me there as well for some of my additional thoughts. Let's listen to a little bit more of what's being said.
And starved and died because they believed those empty promises. They swallow the communist poison pill. If you have a chance, go to the Freedom Tower in Miami. Stop and listen. You can still hear the sounds of those broken promises. It is the sound of waves in the ocean carrying families clinging to pieces of wood. Families with children who can't swim, but willing to risk everything to reach this blessed land. It is the sound of tears hitting the paper of an application to become an American citizen. Most heard and liked the promises, but soon after, they experienced the reality. Look at them, listen to them, learn the truth. Those false promises spread the wealth, free education, free health care, defund the police, trust the socialist state more than your family and your community. They don't sound.
Anybody hear that whistle? That's weird.
They sound familiar. And Fidel Castro was asked if he was a Catholic.
Sounds like a dog whistle.
He said he was a Roman Catholic. He knew he had to hide the truth. But the country I was born in is gone, totally destroyed. When I watch the news in Seattle, Chicago, Portland, and other cities, when I see the history being rewritten, when I hear the promises, I've heard echoes of the former life I never wanted to hear again. I see shadows I thought I had outrun. My parents only wanted one person to decide my fate, me. Not some party member, not some government official, not some bureaucrat. In America, I would decide my own future. I am so grateful to America, the place where I was able to build my American dream through hard work and determination. President Trump knows that the American story was written by people just like you and I, who love our country and take risks to build a future for our families and neighbors. I may be a Cuban-born, but I am 100% American. This is the greatest country in the world. And I said this before. If I gave away everything that I have today, it would not equal 1% of what I was given when I came to this great country of ours. The gift of freedom. Right now, it is up to us to decide our fate and to choose freedom over oppression. President Trump, he's fighting the forces of anarchy and communism.
No, he's not.
And I know he will continue to do just that.
Remember, there's no threat of communism in the United States.
His opponent and the rest of the DC swamp. I have no doubt they will hand the country over to those dangerous forces. You and I will decide. And here's what I've decided. My decision is very easy. I choose President Trump because I choose America. I choose freedom. I still hear my dad. There is no other place to go. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless America.
The Democrats are just going more and more left.
Many positive about socialism, liking it more than capitalism.
Oh my God. So that was crazy. This is insane. I just don't even know what to say, guys. This is bonkers. This is crazy. If this becomes, I mean, if after all this Trump wins, we just need to rethink the country. Like we need a serious rethink. We just got to go back to the drawing board and be like, what the hell are we doing? I don't know how else to say it. I'm sort of, my vocabulary is being stretched to the limit from the standpoint of being able to express the level of absurdity that we have here. Thanks to Your Majesty for the Twitch Prime subscription. I do appreciate that. Well, I just don't even know what to do. I mean, I'll thank a few people. Nathan Rarick is new member number 43 today. JJ O'Farrell is number 44. Ruth Williams is number 45. Michael Hanna is new member number 46. And now we have Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley, and it's great to be back at the Republican National Convention. Mm-hmm. I'll start with a little story. It's about an American ambassador to the United Nations, and it's about a speech she gave to this convention. She called for the re-election of the Republican president she served, and she called out his Democratic opponent, a former vice president from a failed administration. That ambassador said, and I quote, "Democrats always blame America first." The year was 1984. The president was Ronald Reagan, and Ambassador Jeane Kirkpatrick's words are just as true today. Joe Biden and the Democrats are still blaming America first.
They're blaming
Donald Trump has always put America first, and he has earned 4 more years as president.
Yikes.
It was an honor of a lifetime to serve as the United States ambassador to the United Nations. Now, the UN is not for the faint of heart. It's a place where dictators, murderers, and thieves denounce America and then put their hands out and demand that we pay their bills. Well, President Trump put an end to all of that. With his leadership, we did what Barack Obama and Joe Biden refused to do. We stood up for America, and we stood against our enemies. Obama and Biden let North Korea threaten America. President Trump rejected that weakness.
Yeah, how did those negotiations go?
Sanctions on North Korea in history. Obama and Biden let Iran get away with murder and literally sent them a plane full of cash. President Trump did the right thing and ripped up the Iran nuclear deal. Obama and Biden led the United Nations to denounce our friend and ally, Israel. President Trump moved our embassy to Jerusalem, and when the UN tried to condemn us, I was proud to cast the American veto.
That was a disastrous idea.
This president has a record of strength and success. The former vice president has a record of weakness and failure. Joe Biden is good for Iran and ISIS, great for communist China, and he's a godsend to everyone who wants America to apologize, abstain, and abandon our values.
No mention of Russia.
Donald Trump takes a different approach. He's tough on China, and he took on ISIS and won, and he tells the world what it needs to hear. At home, the president is the clear choice on jobs and the economy. He's moved America forward, while Joe Biden has held America back. When Joe was VP, I was governor of the great state of South Carolina.
That was bad.
We had a pretty good run. Manufacturers of all kinds flocked to our state from overseas, creating tens of thousands of American jobs. People were referring to South Carolina as the beast of the Southeast, which I loved.
What?
Everything we did happened in spite of Joe Biden and his old boss. We cut taxes.
What's weird is, like, now that Trump's been president for almost 4 years, South Carolina is still a disaster on healthcare, economy, education. What's the explanation now?
Back, and they gave up. A Biden-Harris administration would be much, much worse. Last time, Joe's boss was Obama. This time, it would be Pelosi, Sanders, and the squad. Their vision for America is socialism, and we know that socialism...
It's funny, the idea that Biden cares what the squad thinks. Like, the critique from the left is Biden doesn't care about the squad and is in a completely different place on the political spectrum. These people are like, oh, the squad will control Biden.
Massive tax hikes on working families. Joe Biden and the socialist left would be a disaster for our economy.
There are almost no actual socialists in Congress. Even some who claim to be seem confused. I mean, the idea that socialism will play any role in Joe Biden's presidency is laughable.
It could set us back, but not for long. President Trump brought our economy back before, and he will bring it back again.
He brought it back. Job growth slowed down when Trump took over from Obama.
The president is right. He knows that political correctness and cancel culture are dangerous and just plain wrong. In much of the Democratic Party, it's now fashionable to say that America is racist. That is a lie.
No, there are people who are racist, certainly.
This is personal for me. I am the proud daughter of Indian immigrants.
There it is,
They
identity
came
politics.
to America and settled in a small southern town. My father wore a turban. My mother wore a sari. I was a brown girl in a black and white world. We faced discrimination and hardship, but my parents never gave in to grievance and hate. My mom built a successful business. My dad taught 30 years at a historically black college, and the people of South Carolina chose me as their first minority and first female governor. America is a story that's a work in progress. Now is the time to build on that progress and make America even freer, fairer, and better for everyone. That's why it's so tragic to see so much of the Democratic Party turning a blind eye towards riots and rage. The American people know we can do better. And of course we value and respect every black life.
I do like this super chat from Miss Emily. Oh, wait, no, sorry, Miss Emily. I love you, but that's not the one I meant. KW, Nikki Haley's English is so simple and rudimentary. She sounds like she's talking to young children or stupid people. Not altogether incorrect. Not altogether incorrect. Emily said, thank you for making having to watch this for work bearable. My pleasure. And then W. Pooh says, Nikki Haley registered as a white voter. That's interesting, too.
Our state came face to face with evil. A white supremacist walked into Mother Emanuel Church during Bible study. 12 African Americans pulled up a chair and prayed with him for an hour. Then he began to shoot. After that horrific tragedy, we didn't turn against each other. We came together, black and white, Democrat and Republican. Together, we made the hard choices needed to heal and removed a divisive symbol peacefully and respectfully. What happened then should give us hope now. America isn't perfect, but the principles we hold dear are perfect. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that even on our worst day, we are blessed to live in America. It's time to keep that blessing alive for the next generation. This president and this party are committed to that noble task. We seek a nation that rises together, not falls apart in anarchy and anger. We know that the only way to overcome America's challenges is to embrace America's strengths. We are striving to reach a brighter future where every child goes to a world-class school chosen by their parents, where every family lives in a safe community with good jobs, where every entrepreneur has the freedom to achieve and inspire, where every believer can worship without fear and every life is protected, where every girl and boy, every woman and man of every race and religion has the best shot at the best life. In this election, we must choose the only candidate who has and who will continue delivering on that vision. President Trump and Vice President Pence have my support, and America has our promise.
Okay.
We will build on the progress of our past and unlock the promise of our future. That future starts when the American people re-elect President Donald Trump. Thank you, good night, and may God always bless America.
Any ideas why they're not letting Tulsi speak? I know some people in the chat seem to be sort of concerned about that. Wow. Okay. Well, we're all reeling from that. Oh God, here's Don Jr.
Good evening, America. I'm Donald Trump Jr.
What's this voice he's using?
Talk about the great American story. To talk about this country we all love. This land of promise and opportunity, of heroes and greatness. Just a few short months ago, we were seeing the American dream become a reality for more of our citizens than ever before. The greatest prolonged economic expansion in American history. The lowest unemployment rate in nearly 50 years. The lowest unemployment rates ever for Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, women, and pretty much every other demographic group. And then, courtesy of the Chinese Communist Party, the virus struck. The president quickly took action and shut down travel from China. Joe Biden and his Democrat allies called my father a racist and a xenophobe for doing it.
Does Trump even like this kid?
Correctness ahead of the safety and security of the American people. Fortunately, as the virus began to spread, the president acted quickly and ensured ventilators got to hospitals that needed them most. He delivered PPE to our brave frontline workers, and he rallied the mighty American private sector to tackle this new challenge. There's more work to do, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Job gains are outpacing what the so-called experts expected. But Biden's radical left-wing policies would stop our economic recovery cold. He's already talking about shutting the country down again. It's madness. Democrats claim to be for workers, but they've spent the entire pandemic trying to sneak a tax break for millionaires in Democrat states into the COVID relief bill. Then they attacked my father for suspending the payroll tax for middle-class workers. In fact, if you think about it,
he didn't really suspend it. He deferred it. They're going to get a big bill next year.
Working man and woman. He supported the worst trade deals in the history of the planet. He voted for the NAFTA nightmare. Down the tubes went our auto industry. He pushed for TPP. Goodbye, manufacturing jobs. Beijing Biden is so weak on China that the intelligence community recently assessed that the Chinese Communist Party favors Biden. They know he'll weaken us both economically and on a world stage.
We actually need a good relationship with China, given that they're going to be one of the top 3 superpowers for a while.
His open border policies would drive wages down for Americans at a time when low-income workers were getting real wage increases for the first time in modern history. He's pledged to repeal the Trump tax cuts, which were the biggest in our country. After 8 years of Obama and Biden's slow growth, Trump's policies have been like rocket fuel to the economy.
Remember that job growth slowed when Trump took over, and the stock market and unemployment and GDP growth all do better under Democrats historically. Just facts. I don't know if any of the facts matter anymore.
Monster of the swamp. For the past half century, he's been lurking around in there. He sticks his head up every now and then to run for president. Then he disappears and doesn't do much in between. So if you're looking for hope, look to the man who did what the failed Obama-Biden administration never could do and built the greatest economy our country has ever seen. And President Trump will do it again. We will be stronger than ever because when we put our mind to it, there is no obstacle that America can't surmount. Except there's a difference this time. In the past, both parties believed in the goodness of America. We agreed on where we wanted to go. We just disagreed on how to get there. This time, the other party is attacking the very principles on which our nation was founded. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the rule of law. Thomas Jefferson famously said, "I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man." Our founders believed there was nothing more important than...
Yeah, he's not screaming the way Kimberly Guilfoyle was, but it's definitely a stupider speech.
They're trying to cancel all of those founders. They don't seem to understand this important principle. In order to improve in the future, we must learn from our past, not erase it. So we're not going to tear down monuments and forget the people who built our great nation. Instead, we will learn from our past so we don't repeat any mistakes. And we will work tirelessly to improve the lives of all Americans. Joe Biden and the radical left are now coming for our freedom of speech.
No, they're not.
They want to bully us into submission. If they get their way, it will no longer be the silent majority. It will be the silenced majority.
Ooh.
This has to stop. Freedom of expression used to be a liberal value, at least before the radical left took over. Now the Republican Party is the home of free speech, the place where anyone from any background can speak their mind, and may the best ideas win. People of faith are under attack. You're not allowed to go to church, but mass chaos in the streets gets a pass. It's almost like this election is shaping up to be church, work, and school versus rioting, looting, and vandalism.
Very much not.
In the words of Biden and the Democrats, peaceful protesting. Anarchists have been flooding our streets, and Democrat mayors are ordering the police to stand down. Small businesses across America, many of them minority-owned, are being torched by mobs. The Democrat mayors pretend it's not happening. They actually called it a summer of love. And that brings me to another important principle. Every American must be free to live without fear of violence in your country, in your communities, and in your homes. All men and women are created equal and must be treated equally under the law. That's why we must put an end to racism, and we must ensure that any police officer who abuses their powers is held accountable. What happened to George Floyd is a disgrace, and if you know a police officer, you know they agree with that too. But we cannot lose sight of the fact that our police are American heroes. They deserve our deepest appreciation. Because no matter what the Democrats say, you and I both know when we dial 911, we don't want it going to voicemail. So defunding the police is not an option. Everything starts with safety and security.
Biden doesn't want to defund the police, just as a reminder for everybody.
A better future for your children without the peace of mind that they can study safely in their classrooms, play safely in their neighborhoods, and sleep safely in their beds. But safety is only the beginning. Trump's America is a land of opportunity, a place of promise. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a family that could afford the best schools and the finest universities. But a great education cannot be the exclusive right of the rich and powerful. It must be accessible to all. And that's why my dad is pro-school choice. That's why he's called education access the civil rights issue, not just of our time, but of all time. It is unacceptable that
being able to go to charter schools is much more important as a civil rights issue than like ending slavery was, for example. That makes sense.
Trump will not stand for it. If Democrats really wanted to help minorities and underserved communities, instead of bowing to big money union bosses, they'd let parents choose what school is best for their kids. They'd limit immigration to protect American workers. They'd support the police who protect our neighborhoods. They'd learn how to negotiate trade deals that prioritize America's interests for a change. They'd end the endless wars and quit sending our young people to solve problems in foreign lands. They'd cut taxes for families and workers. They'd create opportunity zones that drive investment into inner cities. In other words, if Democrats cared for the forgotten men and women of our country, they'd do exactly what President Trump is doing. America is the greatest country on earth, but my father's entire worldview revolves around the idea that we can always do even better. Imagine the life you want to have one with a great job, a beautiful home, a perfect family. You can have it. Imagine the country you want to live in, one with true equal opportunity, where hard work pays off and justice is served with compassion and without partiality. You can have it. Imagine a world where the evils of communism and radical Islamic terrorism are not given a chance to spread, where heroes are celebrated and the good guys win. You can have it. That is the life. That is the country. That is the world that Donald Trump and the Republican Party are after. And yes, you can have it. Because unlike Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, our party is open to everyone. It starts by rejecting radicals who want to drag us into the dark and embracing the man who represents a bright and beautiful future for all. It starts by re-electing Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Thank you, and God bless America.
What a delusional speech, everybody. I mean, I'm not even going to comment on it. You guys know that this is just crazy, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And you know what can we really say? We can't really say anything about it. It's just bonkers. A lot of people sending me super chats, and I would love to take this opportunity to read some of them. So feel free to send me yours if you would like. Mikkel Browning says no mention of Mike Pence at all during this. He was officially renominated earlier, though. Solange Gregory says, does anyone have the number for the Betty Ford Clinic? Yeah, a lot of people asking that. Titan Skull says, I'm hearing a lot of pandering, platitudes, and propaganda. Sadly, those three Ps might still win Trump the election. Very much so, which is why we have to vote. LA Lakers says, day one of the Republican National Convention summed up, veritable House of Horrors freak show. Yes, indeed. Michael Oldham says, everyone gets a mistress under Donald Trump. Arissa Miyako says, he says every American must be free to live without fear of violence. As a trans woman, I've seen only an increase in violence and hate under Trump. Very much so. Dan Alley points out that this is like George Orwell's doublespeak. I feel like they're reading a wish list of Trump's strengths and making up anecdotal stories as proof. Yes, that is true. Colin Myers asks whether Don Jr. was crying. His eyes seemed almost swollen shut. It was weird, but I don't know that he was crying. Joey Two-Time says Mike Pence is like a Leslie Nielsen movie reject. I loved Leslie Nielsen. He was fantastic. Let's go to Twitch, guys. Let's get it going. Let's get Twitch going. Let's get the hype train out of the station. Spencer has subscribed with Prime. 00 Wet Dog has subscribed with Prime. 10AZ has subscribed with Prime, but nobody sent any messages with those subscriptions. Okay, I guess I don't have too much else to mention there. I'll do some new members, though. Emily Banks is new member number 47. Sean Hughes is new member number 48. John Sebastian Major is number 49. And Luke Kolenkark is number 50. You know what I like to say when we get to 50. I say let's go for 75. Rob Pauley is new member number 51 on my website. Who else do I know? I'm missing some here. Let me go a little further back. Kevin Wilkes is number 52. Matzo Ball Soup is back as new member number 53. Edson Hopkins, Matthew Steinmetz, and Heather Crow are numbers 54, 55, and 56. Okay, now we're talking, guys. Now we've got momentum. By the way, who are these women and what are they talking about?
And so somebody like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, this far left, these women come out with these very...
Oh, I'm going to refresh to see if we can resync the audio and video because it did seem to get unsynced.
...voice to these women.
There has been an assault on capitalism, just generally. And I think it's very scary to imagine a Biden world where the progressive wing ideas are starting to take front and center stage. You know,
yeah, like you might pay 39% if you're super rich.
There will be over-regulation, over-taxation. It's very hard to innovate through those two things. And ultimately, what's really sad is the thought of, making all of us dependent on the government, and we are not going to allow that.
I've seen a lot of moderates, a lot of people now changing over because of everything that's been happening. This is a taste of Biden's America. I mean, the rioting, the crime, freedom is at stake now, and this is going.
Imagine thinking that capitalism is in some kind of crisis in the sense of, being weakened. It's crazy to think that's what's going on.
Economy that is keeping America great, and President Trump has delivered on that promise. He's truly fighting for the American people. We're the greatest country in the world, period. On our worst day, we're still the greatest country in the world. And in order to preserve that, it's by putting America first, having a thriving economy, having happiness.
Yep, so that's delusional. We have a second hype train of the evening leaving the station. Oh, actually, let's go to Senator Tim Scott.
Good evening. I'm Senator Tim Scott from the great state of South Carolina. To all of you tuning in and participating in the political process, God bless you. This isn't how I pictured tonight, but our country is experiencing something none of us envisioned. From a global pandemic to the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, 2020 has tested our nation in ways we haven't seen for decades. But regardless of the challenges presented to us, every 4 years, Americans come together to vote, to share stories of what makes our nation strong and the lessons we have learned that can strengthen it for further generations. Because while this election is between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, it is not solely about Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It's about the promise of America. It's about you and me, our challenges and heartbreaks, hopes and dreams. It's about challenges and heartbreaks, hopes and dreams. It's about how we respond when tackling critical issues like police reform, when Democrats called our work a token effort and walked out of the room during negotiations because they wanted the issue more than they wanted a solution. Do we want a society that breeds success or a culture that cancels everything it even slightly disagrees with? I know where I stand. Because you see, I am living my mother's American dream.
What?
My parents divorced when I was 7 years old.
Oh.
And we moved in with my grandparents into a 2-bedroom home with me, my mom, and my brother sharing a room and one bed. My mom worked 16 hours a day to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads. She knew that if we could find the opportunity, bigger things would come. I thought I had to use football to succeed in life, and my focus on academics faded away. My freshman year, I failed out. I failed 4 subjects: Spanish, English, world geography, and even civics.
This guy failed 4 subjects? I'm voting for Trump.
Years in the Senate, I know I'm not the only one in Congress who failed civics. But even while I was failing the 9th grade, my mother always said to me, "Timmy, if you would just shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll be among the stars." She never lost faith in me, even when I lost faith in myself. Because of her encouragement, I went to summer school and caught up. The next year, I met my mentor, John Moniz, a Chick-fil-A operator. John saw something in me that I could not see in myself.
His mentor ran Chick-fil-A's. Guys, it's beyond parody.
But creating jobs would be even better. That having an income could change my lifestyle, but creating a profit could change my community. He planted the seeds of what would become Opportunity Zones. This initiative that the president and I worked together on is now bringing more than $75 billion of private sector investment into distressed communities. I took those lessons to heart and started putting the pieces of my life back together. I realized a quality education is the closest thing to magic in America. That's why I fight to this day for school choice, to make sure every child in every neighborhood has a quality education. I don't care if it's a public, private, charter, virtual, or a homeschool. When a parent has a choice, their kid has a better chance. And the president has fought alongside me
Something's
on that.
wrong with this guy, yeah.
Later in life, I started my own small business. That's why I know it is critical for us to have a tax code that encourages growth. We actually saw revenues to the Treasury increase after we lowered taxes in 2017. Rest assured, the Democrats do not want you to know that. After starting my small business and spending some time in local government, I decided to run for Congress in 2010. The district is based in Charleston, South Carolina, where the Civil War started, against a son of our legendary Senator, Strom Thurmond. You may be asking yourself,
hey, by the way, this super chat here from Ben who says, David, you're mocking things you'd allowed for Dems. First of all, I was extraordinarily critical of the Democratic National Convention. I don't know if you were here for it. And number two, just no, dude, no.
Overwhelmingly white district. The voters judged me not on the color of my skin, but on the content of my character. We live in a world that only wants you to believe in the bad news, racially, economically, and culturally polarizing news. The truth is, our nation's arc always bends back towards fairness. We are not fully where we want to be, but I thank God Almighty, we are not where we used to be. We are always
That's for sure.
striving to be better. When we stumble, and we will, we pick ourselves back up and try again. We don't give in to cancel culture or the radical and factually baseless belief that things are worse today than in the 1860s or the 1960s. We have work to do, but I believe in the goodness of America, the promise that all men and all women are created equal. And if you're watching tonight, I'm betting you do too. Over the past 4 years, we have made tremendous progress towards that promise. President Trump built the most inclusive economy ever. 7 million jobs created pre-COVID-19, and 2/3 of them went to women, African.
Remember, job growth slowed when Obama left and Trump took over. Just facts.
Tackle poverty in a generation, opportunity zones. We put hard-earned tax dollars back in people's pockets by cutting their taxes, especially for single-parent households like the one I grew up in, cutting single mothers' taxes 70% on average. President Trump supported these tax cuts for those single moms and other working families and signed these policies into law, and our nation is better off for it. So, I'm going to ask you, the American people.
He hasn't mentioned his race yet, I don't think, which most speakers have. I wonder if he will.
But to look back at what they've done. This election is about your future, and it is critical to paint a full picture of the records of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden said if a black man didn't vote for him, he wasn't truly black. Joe Biden said black people are a monolithic community. It was Joe Biden who said poor kids can be just as smart as white kids. And while his words are one thing, his actions take it to a whole new level. In 1994, Biden led the charge on a crime bill that put millions of black Americans behind bars. President Trump's criminal justice reform law fixed many of the disparities Biden created and made our system more fair and just for all Americans. Joe Biden also failed our nation's historically black colleges and universities, heaping blame on them as they fought to ensure.
They keep running against the Joe Biden of 1993 and 1994. It's like everybody was more conservative back then in the Democratic Party. Things have changed.
Historically high funding for HBCUs, as well as a bill to give them permanent funding for the first time ever. And now Joe Biden wants to come for your pocketbooks. Unless, of course, you're a blue state millionaire. I'm serious. That's one of their solutions for the pandemic. They want to take more money from your pocket and give it to Manhattan elites and Hollywood moguls so they get a tax break. Republicans, however, passed President Trump's once-in-a-generation tax reform bill that lowered taxes for single moms, working families, and those in need. So when it comes to what Joe Biden says he'll do, look at his actions. Look at his policies. Look at what he already did and what he didn't do while he's been in Washington for 47 years. Ladies and gentlemen, people don't always see those failures because they think we're having a policy debate on two sides of an issue. That is not what is happening. Our side is working on policy, while Joe Biden's radical Democrats are trying to permanently transform what it means to be an American. Make no mistake, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want a cultural revolution, a fundamentally different America, if we let them.
Yeah, they want rich people to pay 39 instead of 37%.
And history has taught us that path only leads to pain and misery, especially for hardworking people hoping to rise. Instead, we must focus on the promise of the American journey. I know that journey well. My grandfather's 99th birthday would have been tomorrow. Growing up, he had to cross the street if a white person was coming. He suffered the indignity of being forced out of school as a third grader to pick cotton, and he never learned to read or write. Yet, he lived long enough to see his grandson become the first African American to be elected to both the United States House and the United States Senate in the history of this country. Our family went from cotton to Congress in one lifetime. And that's why I believe the next American century can be better than the last. There are millions of families just like mine all across this nation, full of potential, seeking to live the American dream. And I'm here tonight to tell you that supporting the Republican ticket gives you the best chance of making that dream a reality. God bless you. And Father, please continue blessing the United States of America.
I feel disgusting. Oh, he was going to leave, but then I guess he remembered he was told to just stand there after the speech. Yeah, I mean, listen, not much to say. It's pandering and it's lying. It's all of the things that we would expect and that we saw from the first second that this got going. So there's really not very much to analyze. You know, the question is this going to activate people to vote? Or are more of us going to vote? Right? I mean, that's fundamentally the question that we're dealing with. And early voting starts soon. And we'll know the answer relatively soon. There's just so much going on. I don't know if they are wrapping or if there's one more thing going on here. It seems sort of like Tim Scott was the keynote there. But what were the craziest moments of the night? What do people think? I might want to put out a tweet with the craziest moments. I think definitely, I'm making notes here, Guilfoyle screaming was a top crazy moment. What other specific moments would you say were the craziest? Trump Jr.'s main squeeze. Yeah. Everybody seems to think it was Kimberly Guilfoyle. But it has to be more specific than just listing the people. Like, I'm talking about specific moments. Yeah. Trump's stance. Trump not understanding what custodian means. Like what someone who's a custodian does. The guy with the whistling nose. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do that. By the way, if it is over and you're heading out, please make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. You'll be notified when I go live tomorrow. And I just would really appreciate it. It costs nothing. And if you're heading out and you're watching on Twitch, please also make sure you follow my channel. on Twitch. It's free, and I do appreciate it. Mental Plantation wasn't bad. When Sean P. Drenus took a sip from the green Kool-Aid, yeah. I guess it's over, right, guys? It seems to be like, it seems that they've wrapped and now they're just going to this kind of wide shot. I don't know. Let's see. We are going to raid someone. You know what we should do on Twitch? We're going to raid Grandmaster Benjamin Feingold because he's actually become a supporter of the show. I'm just making sure I'm spelling it correctly. GM Benjamin Feingold. Yeah, that's going to be just, we'll raid somebody different each evening. And no, I'm going to bail. It's been a long day. I had a PogChamps match. So no Destiny tonight. I will talk to Destiny on a different evening. So we're going to get that raid going momentarily. And that's going to do it for me. We will be back tomorrow. Thanks to the super chatters. I couldn't even come close to getting every single one of them. Let's do it.